Hello, I want to talk about this little program. This is a demonstration here. I'm just going to hit this little script here, and what this one's doing is it's opening up a whole lot of tabs inside my browser straight away. And the ones I actually have one which does an awful lot more than this. It opens up about 10 to 15 tabs, which I actually have in the morning. So when I'm actually getting up, or actually as I'm in bed, I actually just fire up the computer and it just fires up these things so I can read the news. I can actually do a whole lot of COVID stuff, and I do a whole load of screen shooting, and I write a little bit of a blog as well. So it's just one of the activities that I'm actually doing. Now this one here I'm just shortened down because of the fact that my video processing stuff is taking a lot of stuff. But the program it's using is this one here, called AutoStarter X4. Now, the script that I actually have is in AutoHotKey, so to a certain extent I'm really interested in doing productivity with some coding, and then I'm happy to kind of go and get my hands dirty and get coding. Whereas a lot of some people, they just want a simple thing to actually do stuff, but they want things which are reasonably bespoke. So this is something that I suddenly thought was such a cool little program, because it starts a whole lot of activities for you straight away. So on this one here, I'm going to hit Start Web Pages. So it's going to ask you for the path of the browser, and I'm actually just going to put my Firefox in here. The way to get that is you right-hand click on your icon, right-hand click on the name of the program itself, and it's slow, and then inside Properties, it comes up and you can actually get the path to your program. So you just copy and paste that into there without the quote marks, and that's fine to go. Now we can actually put the web page in here. So I'm going to grab this web page through here and put it in here. Now, an easy way to do this, if you're opening up multiple pages, is to actually just create a folder, and inside that folder, all you need to do is just right hand click, and it just says open up all bookmarks. And any of those that you've got in that folder, it will automatically open them all up for you straight away. So that's an easy way of doing it as well. But this is what I'm quite interested in doing, is finding ways for people to be productive in the way that they work. A lot of the times you end up with a program, like I know I do a CAD program, like AutoCAD or something, and you actually have to type in, you want to draw a line. Whereas you naturally just do it if you've got a ruler, a pen and a ruler, then you just draw a line. But if you're doing it in CAD, you've got to go type line, enter, that's the command, and then it says what point, so you've got to give it XY coordinates, so that's usually a mouse click at one point, and then the next coordinate to line from here to where. So that's three things that you've got to remember how to do. So everybody has their own processes on how to do that. And then there's a thing is when you're drawing the line, is it orthogonal, or is it a specific angle, or is it just a free line or something like that? And so programs sort of force you to do things in certain ways. And inside certain environments, you work in certain ways as well. So one of the ones that I do is that I end up with a whole lot of programs like here. And here's one with a web program through there. So this is just opening a website. I'm going to copy that selection there, and I'm going to paste it through there. I'm going to edit that, and then I'm going to have a different place that I'm going to go to. We'll go to to Bing. We just go to Bing. We don't want to go to the thing because it takes ages to come up there. And we can add that onto there, so we can, in our edited program through there, the next website we're going to is that one there. So that's fine. We can actually go through, and we can end up with 25 websites that we end up with there that we just wanted to go through and open up as we do. Then we actually want to say, well, another thing that we want to do is that we want to open up a program. So we want to open up, this says open up a file with a program, but I actually want to open up Notepad++. So if I right hand click on that, and I get the properties of that, and I just choose where the program is. See file programs, there we go. And we're going to open up that program through there. And that's okay through there. So now we've opened up two web pages, we've opened other things, and now we're going to go and open up a directory. So this is where we actually want to go and get our documents. Let's say it's a documents directory through there, or let's just say it's a projects directory, or a OneNote one, let's just say, because there's nothing in there. And so it's going to open up a directory as well like that. So we've now got all of those things out there. Now, sorry, I actually want to go back 2 steps, but I'm just going to go and save this project as morning wake up. And we're going to save that file there. Now I'm just going to go through. This one here has this thing, delete item with right hand mouse. So I'm just going to go and delete a couple of these. Now the first thing we can do with this is that we can test it. So here's one where I'm just going to test this one here. So if I test that, it's run a script, and there it's opened up that file. So we say, oh yeah, that works fine. So we can then go through, and then we can say, well, let's delete that one, and let's go and start opening a file of the program. Now we're going to open up that notebook. We're just going to take our notebook, close it down at this point in time, and now we're going to test that one. Now it goes and runs the script inside a command line thing, and then it opens up Notepad, so we can see that that works. Now we can delete that one there, right click on that one, and we can go and start and open up a directory, and we decided that we were going to open up that OneNote through there, and we're going to go and test that one there. And it should come up and open up the browser. It's a little bit sluggish here because of my video, don't forget. So it's opened that one there. So all of those things, when we're going to go and open up that previous project that we had, and I think we called it Morning Wake Up, and we've opened up that. So this one's opening up. Now we could end up opening up 25 web pages all the way through there. We could end up opening Word, we could end up opening Excel, we could end up opening a few more fancy programs, we could end up opening a couple of directories where our notes are and things like that. And we can have that happening, so we can say that's how we start our morning. We want all of those things up and active, and then we slowly work through those items that they're done. Now, as such, we've got this program here up and running, but what we can do is we can create a batch file, and we can call that batch file, what do we call it? Morning Wake Up. Morning Wake Up. And we're going to call it, I think I got an E in there, we didn't, and we're going to save. So we can now open up that batch file directory there. So I'm just going to close a couple of these pages off here. In fact, we just close the whole site down, close tabs, and we're just going to shift and click on that again to open up another version of that. It's just, it makes it easier if we go into that. So when we come back and open up the batch file there, now we've got a file called morningwakeup.bat. Now if I just click on that a couple of times, double click on it, it now runs that again. So it's now running that first thing there. It's opening up Notepad, it's opening up the stuff.co, and it's opening up my directory. So I now have one file that I can use. Now that's good. So the next part of the process that we need to go into is I'm just going to close that again just in case we need to do it again, is that what we can now do here, we're going to right hand click on the file itself, the bat file, and we're going to create a shortcut. Now we're going to take that shortcut and we're going to go X and we're going to put it on the desktop. There it is. So there's our morning wake up bat. Now what I can try and do is I can try and put it on the taskbar, but that doesn't work. So here's a little trick. If you right hand click on there, go into properties, in the target, at the very beginning of the target, you type Explorer space, and then you've got your target. And then if you drag that down, it's now pinned to your taskbar. So that's handy. Apart from, it's just got the folder looks pretty non-descriptive, so it's a bit confusing. So what we can actually go through and do is that we can come back into here and we can go into the properties again, and we can now change the icon into something pretty obvious. So we can go OK, and now if we now drag that onto the pin to the taskbar, it's ready to go. So now when we press that button, all of those things are going to happen. So that's quite good. The next thing that we can do is we can say, so when we come in the morning, we've got all these programs to open. We want to open up all these web pages. We want to do all of these things. We can just come in and we can press that button. Another thing that we can do is that we can just go into Run and hit that. So we go into our Start menu and type Run, and then we type, when the Run Pro box comes up, we type shell, SHELL, colon, STARTUP, startup, shell startup, and go OK. Now, if I take that shortcut and drag it into there, every time you turn the computer on, that will start up for you. So it will make all of those activities start up straight away. Now that's all right, apart from if your system shuts and gets locked up and you've got to reboot your computer, then it's going to start up all of those things all the way. So I generally have a lot of those buttons down here, so I let the thing start up as quick as possible and then I hit the button. That's just my personal preference, so I'm going to take it out of there because I don't want it in there and do it. Now the reason why we do that is these are two other things. So this is for somebody who doesn't want to learn any coding, but they do want some bespoke things that they can go through and do. So what we can actually do is that we can add other things to this one here. So let's just go and start up, and we're going to start up and we're going to open another program, and we're going to open up, say, I want something light. I haven't got anything light. We're going to open up, we're just going to open up another directory, another Explorer. So we're going to, we're going to open up a shortcut of some description. You can open up a shortcut, you can open up another web page. I want to add something to it. So let's just go and take one of those, and we're going to copy it, and we're going to come down to here, and we're going to paste, and so it comes down here. So we're going to open up another web page that we've just added. And then we can move it up there if we wanted to, and we're going to come into here and we're going to edit that, and we're going to go to, we're just going to go bbc.com, let's just say. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but who cares. So we've now changed that file, so we're now going to save the project. And we are also going to create a batch file. Now this batch file we're going to call morningwakeup1.bat, because if we've added something and it's broken and it doesn't work, we've still got our original one. So what we can actually do is that we got our wake up bat, so that was the original one. Now what I tend to do with these ones is that I actually just go and rename, and I've got a little script, let's shift 2, blast, Control 2, that just puts today's date on the end of it, that I find quite handy. And then what we need to do is we need to come back to this second one, now they've changed numbers, and go into there, and we just rename that wake up bat, morning wake up, and now that icon points to the new one. So when I now hit this, it should do all the things that we did previously, plus it's opening up BBC as well. So we are slowly adding to the script that we had. So each time we enhance the things that we've got. Now the next thing that we can actually do, now we're coming into Notepad++ on this one here, and if we just go back into that original script that we've got, don't want that folder, if we come back into the script, wherever it is, and we go and look at that wake up one there, and we just go and we're going to edit with Notepad++. If you try to write this from scratch, you'd actually have to kind of know the syntax of the batch files to be able to put you'd need to push D and start and pop D and all of these sorts of things. But we don't need to do that. At this point in time, what it's saying is go to the folder with Firefox in it, then run Firefox, then run this URL. So we can actually now say all I need to do is just copy those 3 lines, and I can actually add more to this script now, because that's all I'm going to do. And instead of BBC, I'm going to go CNN, is it? CNN. So we can actually go to another site that will actually go and do something. Another thing that we can do is we can say we want to open a specific program. So let's just go into that, and we'll find a start me text. If we go into this read me text, and if we go into, if you're in File, there's a thing called Copy Path. Now, if you click on that, and you can actually also put that and add it to your little ribbon menu at the top there if you use it a lot. Now, what we can actually do is just copy that file in there now. Now, instead of actually just opening Notepad, it's opening up a specific file that we want into Notepad. So there, we've now altered that file. But when we come and click on this one here again, it's going to do all of those activities. It's going to suddenly open up stuff, BBC.com, it's going to open up Bing, and now it's going to open up CNN. Then it's going to open up this README file through here, and it's going to open up my folder going to that particular directory, the one we want. So again, over time, we don't need to actually rely on this program to do all of those additions. As long as we know how we need to describe those languages, we can add those other things into our batch file if we want, or else we can open them up and do them here and just save those batch files. But I don't like overrating. It's best if when you're creating the batch file, when it's creating that file, is to create it to another name and then save the original one to a new name, or save the original one to a new name and then save this to that file so that your linkage don't work. So you don't have to do any of the setup of it's going to start automatically when you start, or you actually have this button through here, because these are shortcut files. They don't affect the original file overall. So it's a way of actually being able to slowly tweak things to stylize it, to make it more bespoke as to how you work, and at the same time being able to just get on with what you're doing and actually finding the chore things which you do in the day, which is I've got to open up these web pages and those web pages. I'm doing that all the time. Why don't I just open it up automatically? I'll add it to my list of things there so I don't have to think about it. So all of these things slowly get set up on that. Now, if you've got a whole load of files or things that you do, or the fact that you're going to certain folders or directories where you can actually go to quickly, you're setting that up all straight away. And it's all done with one punch of one button that just does it. So once you get all these little tweaks, you're getting your bespoke. So that's one way of doing it. The second one that I want to point out, this one called SystemTrayMenu. So if I just click on that one there, let's just think about it now. What it's going to do is it's basically Explorer just at your fingertips here. So basically I'm coming through and I've got Explorer and it's opened up in my documents folder. What I can actually do, if I come out of there and if I come into the actual folder itself and I'm right hand clicking on it and go to settings, it will then say change the folder, and I'm suddenly saying I don't want to start in documents. I actually want to start in where do I want to start? Get up the top here. I want to start in downloads. So that's where I'm going to do, and that's where I'm doing a lot of my work at the moment. So we're going to select that folder. Or if there's a certain project folder that you're always working in, you can go and move it to there. And then so that you can actually have, there are a couple of other features on here that I actually haven't advanced. Single click to open an item instead of double click. So if we put onto that there, so that's resetting itself up. So when I come down, we should get it changed to, here it is. So if I now left hand click on that, it's doing a little thing, it'll speed up. Again, don't forget my process. So if I come into here, I can actually run those bat files from here if I've actually got them, or here's a chem file. So I'm just going to click on that chem file there and it opens it up straight away. So what that's done is it's actually put a certain directory or directories that you actually want. I think you can actually lock directories down here anyway, onto there, but it's easy to swap over to a new directory and also makes files accessible to the ones that you actually want to do. So if you've got a certain project folders that you go into, you can suddenly switch project folders halfway through and do those ones again. So these are just a couple of productivity tools which are really ways of, you know, is that the way you work, or is that a better way for you to work that you enjoy working, rather than using the Windows E for opening up Explorer and then going into quick access, and then going into whichever one that you're going through down here. If that's not the way that you work, or if you don't have that sort of setup, this is another method that is doing. So what we're trying to do is to get rid of those chore things, and to do it in a way where you don't need to be a programmer. You can actually just use simple tools like this. Now, the next thing that I just want to talk about is the files themselves. Now, a couple of things with the files. I'm just going to I've got to come back to that one again. I should just AutoStart. AutoStart, there we are. I'll blast. No, I think I'm too far back. Go forward. The system tray one, these are both in Softpedia, and they actually say that they are free of malware. I did try downloading them from another site, and I did get something which was screaming out at me, that something saying the AutoStart one, this actually has a thing. Now, if I download it, this is something that I just want to draw your attention to, because you do get called out on this. This is just doing a manual download, and it's a small file, so it should happen quickly. When you download zip files, Windows gets a bit nervy about it, and it doesn't like you doing so. This is it being so slow. Just go and get on with it. When you download your zip files, and I don't know if I've got any here, let's just go and check on this one. I think I've altered any of these ones already. When you right-hand click on the file, and go into properties, this one hasn't got it, but sometimes you'll see this little tick box down the bottom here saying unblock. And if you don't unblock the zip file, any executables or any .dlls, which are dynamic link files, so a lot of those link libraries, those might be used for part of the process, and you'll suddenly find that the program doesn't work. And what it is Windows has blocked all of those executables through there. So again, let's just say, oh, here we are. So here we're going to save a file. So we're just going to download this file, and the reason why I'm using this one is because it's quicker to download than the other one, which is a slightly bigger file. So while that's downloading, I just come back to this other one, the SystemTrayMenu one. That has a download zip file, but it also says that you need to download the Dot Net Runtime as well. So this is, I put the link in there for this, and so you might need to download a 64 or a 36-bit. And the way that you find out what your computer is you just go into System Info, and inside that just tells you about your, get up there, your system info, and it'll tell you whether it's a 64-bit or a 32-bit. Still thinking about it. Sys information. And that just tells you, and this one here is a 64-bit one rather than a 32-bit. Oh, it's slow. So here it says 64 base PC, so that's what it's telling you. And if it says 32 base PC, then you download the x86, otherwise the 64. So that's just another thing. Now, if we just go back to that download file, and we just go to the directory where it's downloaded through there, and we click on, right-hand click on it, and go to properties, you will see it has an unblock. And if you don't unblock at the zip and you unzip all of those things, you'll find you have to individually go into each of those files and unblock them individually. So it's best to do an unblock, and then when you just go to extract, it'll go and extract them all, and then it should work fine. The other little thing I just need to mention when you're running this program here, so let's go and find where that is. If you're running the AutoStarter X34, sometimes you've actually got to run it as administrator, because some of the things it needs the permissions. It depends which directories and stuff. Like if it's going in to a top directory in the seed directory or something like that, or program files or something. Sometimes it needs permission, sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes you've got to run it as administrator. So just be aware that that may be an issue as well. So I hope that's been of interest to you. I've sort of gone a little bit slower because I've assumed that you're not going to be too au fait with coding, but might be interested in just a few little productivity hints to actually help you along the way. Anyway, if you found that useful, please give a thumbs up. Thank you very much indeed.